Previously, we had a look at what is Node.js and ExpressJS and how to create an API server and configure calls and EME variables to our application. And lastly, modularize the entire backend API into EMVC architecture framework. In this video, we'll create a database inside a cluster on MongoDB Atlas Cloud and then configure it to our backend API. You just need to come to this URL, MongoDB Atlas website, and this is where we will be able to create our own NoSQL database hosted in the cloud. So let's click on Get Started, and I'll choose Sign Up with Google. I'll choose my user account from here. Just click Submit. You all can just fill this information with pretty much anything that fits you. And we now just need to create our own cluster. We can just go ahead with the free cluster. We will not be going into a full-fledged production. So a free cluster is more than enough. And we can give a name for this cluster. I'll just keep it as the way it is. And for the region, you can choose anything. I'll just leave this at Oregon, US, West 2. And then we can just scroll down. Also, you can choose your provider here. I'll just go with the default one, AWS. And that is it. Click on Create Deployment. It shows you your IP address here, and then it also says to create a database user. You will be given a username followed by a password. Now both these information are very confidential, so do not share this with anyone. In my case, I'll just open a notepad and save it in there. We will be needing this password again when we try to connect our database to our application. Once you have copied all the information, just click create database user, and that is it. Let's now choose a connection method. We'll go with drivers in here, and then lastly we will be given a connection string. Now this connection string is what we will be using to connect our database to our application. So now let me just copy this and also paste it on my notepad. Once you have the password that you copied earlier, just take that password and replace it in place of this db password. You can replace that password exactly here, and you need to do that very carefully, because if you don't do that properly, the connection will not go further. And then it shows the app name followed by our cluster name. In this case, cluster is 0. Let's click done. And that is it. We have now successfully created a cluster for us. Now let's create a database. So to do that, let's go to browse collections. Alright, from here, just click on create database. And we will just give this a name. You can give this any name. Also, whenever you create a database in MongoDB, you will have to create a new collection as well. If not, it won't, even if you try to create a database, it won't show it anywhere because we don't have a collection. So for this reason, we'll just give it as test. We won't be using this collection in our database, but this is, like it says, just a test. And we won't be needing any of that. Let's click create database. And in here, it just shows us how we can use this Atlas with some sample data. If you guys come across this message, just have a look. And that is it. We have successfully created our database. And also make sure to copy the name of your database as well, because we will be getting that. So now let's move into our code base and see how we can actually use this connection string and our database name with the application. Watch this far? Leave a like. It helps me reach a wider audience on YouTube. Alright, so since we have created the connection string, we have created the cluster, the database and everything, let's now see how we can use it on our API. So first, let's open the terminal, stop the server, and then type npm install mongoose. MongoDB is a NoSQL database management system that can be used to handle large amounts of unstructured data that we can have in an application. NoSQL simply means not only SQL. This way, the data can be stored in various formats, and it's just not confined to a traditional SQL table. But in here, we call them as collections, and a database can have collections, and each collection can have many documents. And these documents, it just looks very similar to a JavaScript object. And Mongoose is an object data modeling library that can be used for Node.js and MongoDB. Like it provides us this schema validations. So Mongoose makes it easier for us to work with MongoDB inside Node.js. Just remember that it just gives us a very high level abstraction layer that if we were to do this directly with MongoDB, it will take a long time. So now let's connect our database to our application. Let's go to the .env file first, and then down here we paste our connection string from MongoDB database. So this will be called as MongoDB underscore URI, which equals to the connection string that you copied. In here, you pass your database username, and then this part here is your password. After that symbol, this is your cluster name. Then dot, this refers to the MongoDB database link, and then is your database name. We just add that name in between this slash and this question. We are pointing to this database inside the cluster of 0. And now we go to the backend and create a folder called config. Inside that config, we have a file called db.js. Inside this file, we import Mongoose from Mongoose. Then we use const connect db equals async await function. So we will be having a try catch block here. This one you type const URI equals await mongoose.connect. Then you type process.env.mongodb URI. Then you just type a message here. And so if there is an error, we will again do a console.ref and show the error message on the console. And then it will also exit the process, because if it cannot connect to the database, we will have to exit with 1. And also don't forget to export default connect db. And that's it. So now let's go to index.js file. Now below this one, just type connect db. Okay, good. It's just auto imported itself. And then we pass it as a function. We are basically calling it down here. Let me just add a quick comment, which is calls function to connect the database. Now what happens is, once we run the application, it will listen to this port from the env, which in this case is 8021. And if it's not available, it will go to this one. It will start listening at the port 8021, and then it will call this function to connect the database to MongoDB Atlas. Now let's run our application and see how this is working. So open the terminal and type npm run. And that is it. We have now successfully connected our MongoDB database to our backend API. And with that, we have properly configured our ExpressJS application with a test route. We have configured calls for our application as well as NodeMon. And we have also finally connected our backend API to a MongoDB database. And if you come across any issues while you're doing this, just leave a comment and I'll try to see how I can help you with that issue. Now make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for the next video in this series. See you on the next one. Bye bye.